It's your boy, AwesomeCuz13, and today I'm gonna have to be doing a video with no music because YouTube keeps fucking my ass with copyright claims. Like I be using Blender's playlist because it's easier. It's already pulled up. I don't want to have to go out of my way to find music. But YouTube keeps kind of like walking up behind me and copying a feel like a pedophile priest. It's like, hey, little boy, that's a nice copyright claim you got there. I'm like, wait, what? Yeah, I've already been slammed with like four of those fuckers. So this is. I had to redo the video with no sound except my voice. I am very sorry about that. And so hey, if you want to blame someone, blame YouTube. Blame those fuckers. Blame the people who keep slamming me with a copyright claim if I even breathe in the wrong way. Like, hey, that's fucking hilarious. And like I said, I'm not making money off of this. I actually don't meet the requirements necessary to be what's it called to be monetized. So it's a lose-lose situation for everyone, but it just kind of hurts my soul that I have to take down videos and shit over copyright claims. Like I haven't taken down two of them because of copyright claims, but whatever. So here we've got my boy Jeroni versus my boy Seas0ns. Two very good players. They play very well, but game two Game two is the issue I'm gonna have. It's the only issue I have is with. So let's just get right into it. Jeroni leads Excadrill as Seas0ns leads Rotom. This is already Mold Breaker. This thing hits Earthquake. This thing dies. Also got to say that both of their teams are very threatening. I forgot Gen 6 lets you run around with Mega Metagross. And this was before the bird got hit with the nerf, the hardest nerf of the year. So here he just hits Earthquake, doesn't do much damage to Clefable because it's physically defensive. Switches in Rotom as he just throws up rocks. Here he goes for another Earthquake, doesn't KO it, revealing that Rotom is physically defensive. Here he gets the burn on Excadrill, which is very tragic indeed. Here he hits Earthquake, crits it. I'm gonna be honest here, I don't think the crit at that range mattered either way because it just dies. I believe this is like max attack Excadrill. I don't actually play the tier, so I wouldn't really know, but I'm pretty sure it's max attack Excadrill. But, let's get back into it. Here he goes into his own Excadrill to spin away the hazards, and, it doesn't really lose much, but still, 61% is quite a lot, showing that it is indeed max attack. So here, what he does is he spins away his hazards. So, here he goes ahead and throws him back out. Oh my god, I swear I can talk. So Excadrill just kind of starts chipping with the Clefable. Starts getting Calm Minds up. This is pretty bad for Jeroni. So he's forced to switch out into Talonflame as he goes for the Flamethrower, revealing that it is Flamethrower Moonblast with Soft Boiled. So here he's able to get a free Swords Dance up. He gets crit with the Moonblast, but it doesn't really matter because Talonflame is kind of, I guess it's like a weird defensive set. But here he goes for Brave Bird, gets the crit on Metagross, which actually did matter because Brave Bird wouldn't have done that much at +2. So here he burns the Metagross, which is really good. Goes for Zen, fails to KO it. Really nice, really nice. So he switches out into Excadrill, which is burned and practically useless to him. Zen Headbutt isn't doing much to drill. So here goes for another one, trying to get the flinch. Doesn't get the flinch, and down goes Mega Metagross. That absolute issue of a Mon is now gone. Perfect. So now Jeroni can kind of go around and go ham. So here he goes out into his own Latios, and he's just like, yeah, fuck it, I'm gonna sack the drill because it does nothing for me now. Here he goes into Tornadus Therian, knocks off the item, revealing it to be Choice Specs. Oh boy. So in comes Tornadus. Tornadus hits another knockoff, all there down it goes. Excadrill comes in, and I believe here he hits the Heat Wave and it connects, KO's Excadrill, so his hazards stay up. Clefable comes in, gets its item knocked, and here it starts going for the Calm Minds again. Really, really scary for him, so he's forced to switch out. And so he U-turns out, in comes Talonflame. Clefable gets another +2, pretty good. Here he goes for a Roost, and Clefable's just going for more Calm Minds. Funny enough, Moonblast at +3 will not kill Talonflame. So here he decides to soft boiled, expecting him to get desperate and start chipping away at him. Thankfully, Jeroni did not play that, and instead he went for the Swords Dance so he could faithfully break through Clefable. So here he goes for Brave Bird, does 52%, gets damage for recoil, plus 3 Moonblast will not KO. So then here he goes for another one, and he gets the crit. I'm gonna be honest here, I believe it was a roll, but that roll didn't exactly really matter because the first blow already did 52%. That is fucking brutal towards for a Clefable, especially a defensive one. So, down goes Clefable, and then here comes Volcarona, takes 50% from rocks. He just hits Brave Bird, and that's game one. GG's are said, and then we go on to game two. Game two is a lot more brutal just because of the fact that this time they decided to say, fuck it, we're both bringing hazards. Fuck it, we're both bringing our ground types, and then fuck it, we're both bringing something scary. So, well, Mega Latios isn't really that scary, but it's got a lot of offensive pressure. So here in comes Tornado's Therian as he leads with Ferrothorn. It's forced to U-turn, and I believe the U-turn play was made not so Ferrothorn could come in, but because he expected Jeroni, Seas0ns expected Jeroni to switch out his own Ferrothorn out of fear that it would have Heat Wave. But the thing is, it wouldn't really make sense to switch in an Azumarill or anything like that because, it just hits a knockoff and that's game. If it has knockoff anyways. So here it goes into Ferrothorn. He goes ahead and paralyzes that. That's a really good play for him. He gets up his spikes. Opposing Ferrothorn gets up spikes. You know what they do. They just get up their hazards. So here he goes for Thunderwave again, expecting a switch. And here he goes for Leech Seed, also expecting a switch, but this Ferrothorn gets paralyzed twice, so it doesn't really matter. In comes Garchomp, taking 24% from the rocks, and he decides to hit knockoff. That's the only form of damage he's done on this Ferrothorn by using the Tarchomp set, as it's most likely known in Gen 7. So here he decides to get up rocks, and I'm going to be very honest here. I don't like the fact that he let the opposing Ferrothorn get up all three hazards, like all three layers of spikes on him, just because of the fact that his entire team, his Garchomp, his own Ferrothorn, his Weavile, and his Azumarill take damage from the spikes, which are it's really bad because hold on, I am really sorry about that, but like I was saying, he needed to keep Garchomp healthy because it was a sort of defensive wall in a sense. Because it was the charge chomp helmet, it punished whatever wanted to hit him physically, and that included this Metagross. And so, losing this was really bad. Letting those hazards go up was really, really bad. So here he just goes for the Earthquake with Gliscor, and he just hits Dragon Tail to switch it out. In comes Suicune, takes 25% and plus an additional 12. But this Suicune is a stall version, so here he goes for Protect as he goes for Dragon Tail. I believe this round he goes for Substitute. No, this round he switches out, so Latios comes in. And so, this happens. He Mega Evolves as Suicune goes for Protect behind a sub. Pretty gay, pretty gay. And so, he just hits it again, hits Psychic, gets the damage off. Suicune hits Scald and gets the burn. Very tragic indeed. Here he hits Protect again as Latios goes for Roost to stall out a turn. Pretty good, but I don't approve of it. Ferrothorn comes in as he decides to go for the Psychic, doesn't KO it, but he gets the Spadef drop. That Spadef drop wasn't really good for anything, except killing Ferrothorn. But So here he just goes for the Ice Beam, kills it. It's really good, really good. And so here he goes into Mega Metagross, and Mega Metagross just takes all that damage, right? But this is the play I don't agree with. I don't agree. Like, I would have just stayed in and done damage because I know that this thing would have Mega Evolved. I wouldn't have predicted Pursuit because it's very rare for Metagross to carry it nowadays. But, it's used a lot more often than people think in Gen 6 because Tough Claw's boosted Pursuit does the same as Banded T-Tar Pursuit. It completely destroys a Latios. But here Latios just dies to the Pursuit. Down it goes. In comes Ferrothorn and Metagross just switches out in exchange for Gliscor. And here he just misses Leech Seed, which is really bad. I'm really that Leech Seed miss didn't really matter, nor did it really benefit him now that Latios is dead and Latios was the only way he could deal with Gliscor. But So here Gliscor just goes for Earthquake. Ferrothorn gets Leech Seed up. And here I believe they start trying to 1v1 because, typing. So here he misses a power whip, which really sucks. Glasgow comes in. It's just chipping away at him. Glasgow goes for the sword stance this turn. Here he's forced to go for another power whip. He lands it this time. And I believe this goes on for a bit until Glasgow dies. So here he chooses to sack off Glasgow into Clefable. And then in comes Clefable. And he goes ahead and just starts the Calm Mind War. And we all know how this goes. So here he hits him. What makes this sad is that he hit him with a Moonblast, got the 23% off. That's good damage. Seasons Clefable hits him, and y'all remember all those crits from the first game? Well, they all come back to haunt him, guaranteeing like his Clefable just fucking drops. So here Weavile comes in, hits Icicle Crash, does not kill, does not flinch. There goes Weavile. Bye bye. And then, here comes Zoomeril. He goes for the play rough and misses. Ow. I felt that miss in my soul. That is just tragic. So here he just hits him with another Boom Blast. So long, Gay Bowser, as the saying goes. In comes Garchomp. And then Garchomp just hits Earthquake. Everyone's like, oh, okay, he's got a chance. No, he does not, because Tornadus comes in and reveals HP Ice. There goes Garchomp. That's game 2. GG's are said. Now, game 3. They've both brought Megazam. They've both brought Clef. And they've basically got a really solid team. That's Scarf Latios. I believe that's Specs or Scarf Zone. And then that itself is just... you know what Glasgow does. Cophagrigus. We all know what Storm Drain here does. We all know what this boy Gastrodon does. The Menace. And then he's got, he's got the Shed Shell Skarmory. So let's just get into this. So he leads with Alakazam as in comes Clefable. He decides to Mega Evolve Clefable to see if it's unaware of Magikarp, really good play, and then hits him with a Taunt just in case it tries to go for Toxic. Here, Clefable goes ahead and smacks him with a Moonblast and gets the -1. So that being said, he's forced to switch out into his own Clefable, hits Knock, and off go Clefable's leftovers. Fuck. Out go the other Clefables. I am so sorry. Out go the other Clefable's leftovers. Now, why this was crucial is because this Clefable needs recovery that doesn't exactly waste PP. Leftovers does that. And honestly, I love that Seasons made that really... That was like... He was in the future. He was already playing this game. He knew what to do already. So in comes Gliscor. Clefable just sets up rocks. I believe Gliscor switches out in exchange as he switches on to Skarmory, which is a good read. So here he's forced to go into Gastrodon on the Thunderbolt because he was expecting this to be leftovers and not Shed Shell. So, in comes the opposing Clefable, Scald, and this goes on for a bit, actually. So he switches out into Clefable, as in goes... Well, no, sorry. That exchange before with Gastrodon versus Clef, that goes on for a while in a couple rounds. I forgot which turn exactly, but it just happened, so I'm going to skip through that. So, in comes Gliscor, and he just once again hits Thunder Wave. I don't know why he hit Thunder Wave, knowing he had a Magnezone and a Gliscor, but hey, you can try. So in comes Gliscor. He goes ahead and switches on to Skarmory as Gliscor goes for a Swords Dance. I believe here he goes for he goes for another Swords Dance as he goes for Spikes. Here he finally goes for Facade, and Skarmory's like fuck you, whirlwinds him out. In comes Latios, in comes Suicune, and then I believe he just sets up another layer. No, he switches on to T-Tar when he saw the Latios. So, in comes Suicune, and I believe here he's forced to switch on to Gastrodon East again, as Suicune hits Scald, Gastrodon. I don't really agree with that play, but I believe Scald was the only move he had, because here he switches out. Yeah, he switches out, and then, this is the turn I was talking about, turn 14, where it's literally just Gastrodon versus Clefable, clicking the same moves over and over and over again. I believe he gets a Spatak drop on him at one point, yeah. And so, Gastrodon gets this Spatak drop, Scald, and I don't think he switches out this turn. Yeah, he switches out next turn. Oh my god, Jeroni. So here he gets a Recover Off, which is a really good play. Then he gets hit with a Knockoff. Gastron just goes for another recover, and then he switches out. So in comes Clefable, as this Clefable hits knockoff again. And in comes Gliscor. I believe here he finally hits Moonblast. No, he hits Flamethrower. So Gliscor doesn't take much. Here it comes Skarmory. Gliscor gets the +2 again. Here Skarmory roosts on the second one. Yeah, good play on that part. Good play on Jeroni's part. Gliscor smacks him with a +4 Facade. And it does nothing. It does 27% at most. So here he just gets up spikes because no fucks are given. Here's at +6. Gets up another layer. Smacks him with another Facade. 38%. Just roosts it all back up. So here this goes on for a while too. Where he just... But I'm not going to fast forward through this because it's like, what, 2 turns? 3 of them doing this. So here Gliscor goes for Facade once more. Gets Whirlwinded out. And here comes Magnezone. And I believe here he just switches out his Clefable as he goes into his own Gastrodon. This happens again. Oh my god. So here he switches finally out into Clefable on turn 39. Clefable takes that Moonblast, gets the Spatak drop. And then here he switches out into Gliscor. And so he goes for a Soft Boiled, and I believe switches out this turn into Skarmory. Only for Latios to come in. I believe it had HP Fire. So here goes T-Tar, and I believe Latios just hits Defog because it is in fact Scarf Latios. So those hazards go away, and here he just goes for the Banded Pursuit. Down goes Latios. Tragic for Seasons. Clefable comes in, so out comes Clefable. He switches into Magnezone, and then he doubles over into Alakazam as he goes into his own Gastrodon. And then here he doubles out into Clefable as in comes Alakazam and traces the Magic Guard. Hits Psychic, does 48%. This Clefable gets crit. That crit also didn't matter, mostly because it came down to a roll in the end. Because, he did 48 last time. 48% last time with a non-boosted Psychic. I believe it went down to a roll that game. So, him getting the crit was just him guaranteeing that he got the high roll. It's really weird. So in comes T-Tar, Sandstream starts up. Alakazam goes for Focus Blast and misses. T-Tar gets the crunch. I'm not gonna lie when I say that Alakazam missing Focus Blast was exactly what Jeroni needed to get back into the game. Like, he had no counters for this motherfucker right here, for this Clefable, and he ended up getting the one thing he needed because Alakazam kind of ran through his team because his own Alakazam wasn't healthy, so down goes that Alakazam, in comes Clefable, Tyranitar switches out in favor for Alakazam, and so he switches down to Magnezone. Here Alakazam goes for Focus Blast and lands it, thankfully, which is another stroke of good luck. In comes Gliscor, here he hits Hidden Power, and the Gliscor here goes for Swords Dance. I don't know why Seasons didn't just go for the raw Facade or Earthquake, but, to each their own, I guess, to each their own. I believe he was expecting Skarmory or Gastrodon to come out because they even though Hidden Power was a guaranteed KO, Gastrodon didn't take that much, neither did Skarmory from Gliscor's Facade or Earthquake at +2. But, whatever. Gliscor gets its HP back, is forced to switch out as Clefable comes in and gets hit by Psychic. And this time Clefable does die to the second Psychic, so Seasons, having realized that, decides to forfeit because, Alakazam just kind of runs through his team. And that's how this battle ends. GGs are said. Both players played really well. I really like how Jeroni gave no fucks this last game. Came in swinging, left swinging, to the point where his opponent was all like, yeah, no, I know I don't win this. But, GG to the both of them. They both played really well. I recommend you check out my boy Jeroni because he does in fact have a not a live stream. He had a podcast with MV back in MV starting days. But hey, I recommend you check it out. I'll put a link to it down in the description below. And yeah, that's it. If you liked it, what you saw, you liked what you heard, you know what to do. Your boy's out. Peace. Also, I'll be playing SCP later, so yeah, peace.